gonna move you just a little bit this way. Bam. All right. So we are on. Sorry it took a moment. It's Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Unusual time, but really, really excited to get this conversation started. So today we're going to talk. The question is, do you have pride in your journey? And it's an important question because what I'm asking for us to do is to acknowledge the stuff that we've experienced, to validate the positive shit, and actually just to look at it. So I'm with Natalie today. Kat is out and about in the city, taking some much needed time to just not do anything. And we're here. So we've printed out some stuff, definitions and stuff, but let's start off with the question. Do you take pride in your journey?
What journey are we talking about?
Leather, kink, BDSM.
Do I take pride in it? Yeah, 100%.
So why do you take pride in it?
Why do I take pride in it? Well, I was asked to join about an hour ago, this conversation, and when you asked, we were talking, you said, do you take pride, and we're talking about pride in our power exchange.
Yeah.
But in the overall sense, and I thought, wow, yes, of course I feel pride, because our power exchange between Master and I started a little over a year ago. We had our 1-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago. And we had a conversation a day or two ago, and where I am then compared to where I am now in terms of my own understanding of our power exchange and my submission and my slavery, but also in terms of how I relate to polyamory and other relationships is leaps and bounds from that point. So I'm able to pinpoint the beginning of my journey, and I'm able to sit here now and see progress. So I feel pride in progress.
Yeah, I do too. I think the benchmarks of who we were when we first started and how the connections evolved, I think ultimately it's the accountability that I've been kept to that has made me grow. Because if it didn't grow, it would fail. If I didn't grow, the relationships would fail. And the relationships are too meaningful to me, too joyous and too fulfilling to risk it, right? So it's like, I absolutely take pride in it. And I take pride in this journey particularly because of the structure that is presented me in order to have a template to work with. Have something to guide me in the direction I need to be going, just in my relationship with what I believe to be true.
Our power exchange.
Ultimate leading to a power exchange, yeah. Like my belief of what it means to be another person and acting that way is what provides us the space to do the things we do because we lean into trust and vulnerability. And it's easier said than done, but the payoff is incredible.
That's true.
It's incredible. This is a poly relationship name, just for the record. So
I'm sure we'll dig into it more.
I have some stuff that Kat printed out, and this is from calmary.com. Self-esteem, the importance of being proud of yourself. And if I've witnessed anything in life is that as human beings, we are our own worst critics. And the ability to take a moment and say to yourself, wow, you've done a good job. Look at what you've accomplished. It's, I'm trying to make that a regular practice. And it's like
Gratitude.
Not gratitude. I have a lot of gratitude, but acknowledgement, self-acknowledgement. Right, to say, wow, you did do this, and you did accomplish X, and to build on self-esteem and self-value, because that's not an easy thing for me to do. It's taken years. I mean, to take a compliment, right?
Yeah, is it easy for anyone to take a compliment? If so, how is it easy, and what do you do?
Yeah, if you got
Please help.
if you got all the tricks for us building self-esteem in your back pocket, put it in the chat. How many in the poly? Is it 5?
Yeah, with the pink.
5 of us, 6 of us, 5 of us,
5.
5 and some play partners here and there. So, simply put, being proud of oneself means having a strong, healthy sense of self-worth, which leads to generally more positive well-being. But it's that, let me take some notes, because this is the kicker, right, is self-worth. Working with a lot of the folks that I have over the last few years, self-worth and developing that is not, again, it's not easy.
Mm-hmm. It's a form of self-care.
Oh, yeah.
Or even maintenance.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
But not easy, yeah, not an easy feat whatsoever.
Thank you, Ada. So let's jump on into this. It's a vital part of leading a healthy and happy life. People who have a strong sense of self-worth feel more content with their lives and empowered with their life journey. Self-pride doesn't mean thinking you're perfect. It means recognizing your achievements, traits, and something that's unique in you, and the fact that your personality is worth celebrating. This way you can learn to view yourself positively. Self-pride also means accepting your vulnerabilities and embracing them as a unique part of yourself. One of the other things when we were jumping into this conversation is the word pride and proud. Right? Are you proud of yourself? Do you take pride in who you are, what you've accomplished, what you've done, versus the superficial pride and proud that's gloating and gleaming, and that type of pride when you're seeking validation from others, versus the pride you have in yourself.
Yeah, I'm just wrapping my head around the difference between those two. But there is this, yes, seeking versus radiating, and that's when that push and pull sort of like karmic feature comes into play, right? You radiate your self-worth and your love for yourself, or maybe love is a strong word, but understanding and care, and people can smell that.
Yeah, it's like,
you don't need to say it.
I 100%. I believe when you start to feel your power, it radiates, and it's energetic, and people can feed off of that too. Like,
yeah, you have to be careful.
The people who are attracted to that type of self-awareness. So by cultivating self-pride, we can foster respect for ourselves and become more confident in our ability to succeed. As a result, you can trust yourself even more, being determined to reach your goals. I guess the other thing in here is self-trust, right? Do you trust yourself? Self-trust. And that was something that I was talking with Kat maybe last week, the week before, and I don't have a lack of self-trust. I have my relationship with impulsivity, and I'm aware of what I'm doing when I'm doing it, right? Now, rarely is it a clouded choice that I'm making, right? I'm more often than not aware of what's happening and the repercussions. And
yeah,
but
you calculate it.
It's learning that other people don't have a lot of self-trust was eye-opening to me. And it's like, well, where does that fall in? And just reading this paragraph, it's like consistently looking at the consistent outcomes of your choices, right? Are they getting you towards your goal, or are they getting you away from your goal? And if they're getting you away from your goal, do you trust in your decision making?
I think for lots of people, and myself included, I think what often gets mistaken as a lack of self-trust is a lack of direction. Because if you don't know what your goal is, and you're making all these decisions towards what?
Where? Yeah.
Where?
Or where? Okay.
And it's almost like instead of a lack of self-trust, it's more of a lack of purpose, or a lack of understanding of purpose and of the next point. You're in the car and you don't know where you're driving to. You know, it's For me.
No, that's cool. I've never. I like hearing that.
Yeah, and I also had a pretty big revelation a couple of weeks ago.
That you have the best master in the world, and don't brag about me on social media. And he's funny.
He's just incredible. And
is he good looking too?
And good looking.
Oh my god! I gotta meet. What?
He's wearing my pants, so he looks incredible right now. Truthfully. But I had this revelation that because for a while I thought I was lacking self-trust. Like I didn't trust myself. Like I was making decisions and I had options and choices and I would lean towards something or towards one of the choices, but I would ultimately not know if that choice would be not necessarily the best choice, but anyway, I'm diving into it. But what I discovered was it's not a lack of self-trust or a lack of trust in myself, but it's a lack of ability to take action on my intuition or lack of practice on taking action to what my intuition says.
So like self-doubt.
Self-doubt, yeah. But it's not doubting. It's like I know what I should do, but I don't do exactly what I know I should do because I don't have the practice, nor did I have the poster image.
The trust, the trust to execute it and accomplish it?
No, that's just to do it, just to like to execute, sure, but not accomplish. Just to act on what my intuition. Like I know I have this strong intuitive feeling, but I don't always do what that strong intuitive feeling says because I never had the practice of seeing someone follow their own intuition, like my mother.
Ah.
I had this theory.
Okay.
And then after I had this revelation, I texted my mother and I said, listen to your. I wasn't preaching because I have to explain my relationship with my mother to say something like this, but I just said like you know what you need to do. You have the ability to see what is best for you. And she said, "Wow, you sound like my therapist." And I was like, "Yes, my analysis was right." Anyway. I went off the deep end of it on that.
No, that's
But that's my relationship to self-trust, doubt, intuition, action, execution. Like, for me, it's not even like this is what it is. It's like the inner peace. Does that make sense? Like, it's not even like the scenes. It's like the moving to the next scene. The in between. Like a purgatory sort of place. If that makes any sense. Anyway.
Moving on. No, I lost you there, but
it's okay. It's okay. I maybe have to process it myself a little bit.
No, that's cool. All right, so let's see. So how do you navigate that and realize that? What is that hurricane? And we'll jump on that question. So I'll continue reading until that comes through. The way we look at situations is never really objective. We all have our filters and biases, and our perception of ourselves doesn't always reflect our actual capabilities and potential. Besides, what we think about ourselves doesn't always reflect the way others see us. Unfortunately, recognizing what you might need to improve in your own perception can be extremely difficult, and that's why overcoming self-esteem problems often turns into a challenge. Many people need help with it, and that's where self-esteem therapy can be helpful. Healthy self-esteem starts with self-acceptance and ultimately allows you to be proud of yourself, celebrate your achievements, and recognize your strengths. Why is it important to be proud of yourself? What Natalie was talking about, the perspective you were talking about.
How do you navigate that and realize it? You mean like the piece about intuition and acting on intuition? I'm going to assume that's what you meant. How do you navigate that and realize that? Well, the realization came. I don't necessarily remember exactly how the realization came. I think it was a situation in which I was talking with my therapist about helping my mother. And I realized that I had to shift my perspective in the relationship with my mother to being almost service-oriented. That all the times in which I thought that when I was growing up that she was trauma dumping on me, really she just needed reassurance in her decision making. So I would be that sort of person that she would come to check to see if the decision she was about to make was okay. It was like I was the reassurance piece so that she could act on her intuition.
Were you the permission slip?
Yes, some may say. So I was talking that through, and I was talking about how I'd like to shift my perspective with my mother, because I realized that by thinking that she was trauma dumping on me, that wasn't the case, and that's how the realization unfolded for me. And navigating that, I don't know how to navigate that yet. I'm simply just putting myself into the driver's seat and seeing how this whole service-oriented mindset with my mother goes through, in terms of giving her reassurance for all the times in which she, was much less, what's the right word? For all the times which she did much better than what she was given.
So why is it important to be proud of yourself? When you love who you are as a person and appreciate what you bring to the table, it sets a positive tone for relationships, careers, and life in general. This isn't, however, the only reason why having a healthy sense of self-worth and being proud of yourself can benefit you. Here are some of the key benefits of being proud of yourself. When you're proud of yourself, you learn to build healthy relationships. It's important to emphasize that being proud of yourself does not mean embracing narcissism or ignoring unproductive behavioral or thinking patterns in yourself altogether. Furthermore, it does not mean putting down others so that you can feel superior. Being proud of yourself means being happy with who you are and acknowledging your strengths. And when you have a strong sense of self-worth, you can have better and more fulfilling relationships with others and yourself, prioritizing your needs. People who know their worth can establish clear boundaries in their relationships, and they can better cope with the fear of abandonment or rejection. Understanding why you are so valued.
It sounds just like self-actualization.
Yeah. Besides, you can feel free to make your own decisions and learn to say no. After all, you don't need to sacrifice your interests and needs for others when you're not dependent on their opinions. Super true. Very, 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 very true.
Yeah, what a release from shackles.
When you're proud of yourself, you feel motivated. When you're proud of yourself, you take care of your health. So another reason why you should be proud of yourself is that it allows you to be self-motivated. You won't need constant validation from other people when you feel good about yourself. That is something I'm just getting in front of now, is acknowledging that part of myself, that I don't need that validation in a lot of areas because I feel like I know what the fuck I'm doing. But it took me a long time to feel like I know the fuck what I'm doing. And then it took me a little longer to realize that I do know what I'm doing.
Is that an imposter syndrome sort of?
Type of thing, yeah. And like I like when we met and I told you, I met you who you were that day. I didn't meet you who you were in the past. But then on the same note, I'm governing myself, or I have governed myself as the person from the past versus who I am today.
What do you mean by you have governed yourself?
Not behaving certain way. Maybe expecting to be received certain ways, not feeling like I had enough permission to ask for things because I was keeping my value of who I was 10 years ago, right? It hadn't evolved from that point of being able to say, look at all the work you've done. Right? Look at all the things you've set out to do. Look at all the things you've accomplished. Look at... but then it comes to that like patting yourself on the back thing.
You think it comes across that way?
No, it can, but the feeling inches up.
And
Right.
it's like a guilt feeling.
Yeah, kind of like I don't want to brag, right? Like it's like gloating.
What would make you? Can you give me an example?
Just talking about my accomplishments. But then as I'm sitting here listening to myself, it's like
You're just laying it out on the table.
you just there. It's just facts,
Yeah.
right? And it's like
Yeah. We had an experience a couple of weeks or months ago where I was sharing information about my day or my past, and you were like, "Oh, I had no idea." You remember this? It was a very casual.
I had no idea about what.
It was funny. I was like saying something because during the week I'm a dog walker, so I was saying something about something that I do during the day, and he was like, "Oh," I was like, "This is weird. We never talk about this." And then it went into something about the past, and then you said something to me about I don't know much about your past because I know who you are now, and then you paused, and then you were like, "Well, actually, maybe I should know more about your past because what your past has influenced the person who you are today."
Well, yeah.
But anyway, I don't know where I was going with
So
that. Sorry, I'm leading us onto like but I think anyway. I had a stream. I had a stream that was leading to something in which this was connected to something that you had just said, but I lost it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Sorry, I'm not used to doing these single questions.
All right, ready? As a result, it helps you to feel confidence and foster great accomplishments by providing inner motivation. Keep believing in yourself and stay proud of every accomplishment, no matter how big or small, and you'll be bound to create more wins.
That positive talk is so, like, for me sometimes very hard to do for myself, very cringy. I'm like, ugh, like, good job.
But that's the feeling that I'm talking about, right? That's the feeling that creeps up when we reflect on what we've accomplished, right?
But it doesn't feel the same way when we reflect on it.
But saying it out loud and someone else hearing it.
No, I think it's less cringy for me to talk about it and have someone else hear it than for me to just do it on my own by myself and be like, wow, you're doing a good job.
I probably wouldn't stand in front of a mirror saying it to myself, but sometimes I talk to the universe. Actually, with this conversation, I think I have to do that. I have to sit down and just talk about the things I've accomplished to give myself credit, because that is something I've not done, like, until recently, just a little bit here, a little bit there too, and it was only talking about resume.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, but you could do two. You could do a professional resume, and then you could just do a life resume, and you could put it all out, and it would be very interesting to see which, not even values, but like, you know, in resumes they have like it's like templates. Like what sort of template would a life resume have? You know what I mean? Like love, relationships, like how would that look? So that you could put it on a piece of paper, almost like a mood board in a way, but not like that, more clinical, more professional, but not professional based.
Yeah. I would need like lead questions for something like that.
Sure, that's what I mean. Like how would we curate that? And would it be helpful to have it all laid out on paper?
I think so. Self-pride is the ultimate form of self-love. And when we love something, we care about it. By embracing yourself as you are, you can develop a healthier relationship with your body, recognizing its needs and protecting its health. The feeling of self-pride might motivate you to stick with a healthy lifestyle, whether it be working out, jogging, doing yoga, or switching to a healthier diet. Let me take a sip of my Coke. There are countless ways to take better care of yourself. All these things also create a lot of room for new accomplishments. That would be very intriguing to see what that would be and look like.
I agree.
All right. The problem with self-criticism. There is a difference between healthy and low self-esteem, and such a difference may impact not only your emotional well-being, but also your relationships, career, and virtually any other area of your life. Most often, such problems stem from self-criticism. First of all, let's point out the fact that self-criticism isn't bad. Moreover, it's rather necessary if you want to improve and grow, both personally and professionally. To grow, you need to identify areas of improvement. With that said, only a healthy amount of self-criticism can be helpful. Unfortunately, it can also easily get out of control and turn into self-deprecation and even self-sabotage. Numerous studies suggest that self-criticism can have a severe negative impact on a relationship with oneself. Unhelpful self-criticism and negative thinking can make you ignore your own strengths and achievements.
Yeah.
That's also a huge fucking turnoff for me.
What is? Ignoring your achievements?
No, yes. No. Self-deprecation. It's like, I get we drop the ball and sometimes you can beat yourself up a little bit, but don't beat yourself up all the time. And don't be a victim of your own existence.
Yeah, I think one of my inner self-critic, for me, the most distressing piece for me is that my inner self-critic won't let me rest. Because I have productivity and self-worth so combined. And what productivity looks for me doesn't necessarily match up with my belief system all the time. You know, because of capitalism and having to get all these things done, like taking things off my list. So sometimes what is the worst part or relationship with me and my self-critic, my inner self-critic, is the fact that it takes me away from resting and from allowing me to do things that actually fulfill me, rather than just taking things off my to-do list.
Yeah. So I slid you over so we can stay in frame.
Oh, yes.
Oh, so we keep close.
Yes, for a thumbnail. I've been editing all the videos, so getting the thumbnail, like, it's been pretty funny.
How to be proud of yourself, because yes, that really is a good thing. By Lee Wingus. Knowing how to be proud of yourself is a beautiful, wonderful thing. While our society often makes having pride in ourselves and our accomplishments seem like a bad thing, that couldn't be further from the truth. Actually, being proud of yourself is a critical element of mental health, and many mental health experts emphasize the importance of celebrating and taking pride in as many aspects of your life as you can. Unfortunately, self-pride can be difficult for a lot of people, especially for those who struggle with their confidence or have low self-esteem. That's why we put together a simple 6-step guide that will help you feel proud of yourself. Get ready to celebrate the most important person in your life. You and you.
God, I have a love-hate relationship with the internet. How? Step-by-step guide to loving yourself and being proud.
.com. This is from silkandsonder.com. How to be proud of yourself. This was written on June 20th of 2022.
COVID times.
Listen. Do what you love. Being proud of yourself starts with having pride in the things you've done in the first place. Doing what you love can be related to your job, but it doesn't have to be. It can also be related to your family or even a hobby. For example, if you love to garden, you can find pride in the gorgeous flowers or flavorful fruits and vegetables you grow. I agree. I'd put passion over career in that. But that's just me. Tune out negative self-talk. It's really easy to talk yourself out of self-pride. If you've ever thought of yourself, no one cares about my thought to yourself, no one cares about my accomplishments, or what I'm doing isn't really that important. You've fallen victim to negative self-talk. Tune out the noise by replacing these negative phrases with positive affirmations. Not sure where to start? Here's some great ones to add to your affirmation jar. And there they went.
I'm trying to think of what my negative self-talk says or looks like. Do you have an idea? for yourself?
I think my negative self-talk comes in self-worth of the place I take in society. Like, I feel invisible.
Mm.
I don't think I've said that out loud.
I've never heard you say it.
So it's like, what is my right in claiming space?
Energetic space, physical space?
All of it. All of it.
I think that has to go into values too.
Like what?
Like you said, I feel invisible. And then you said that you have to look into your right to take up space. So if you don't, I guess what I'm questioning is, for me, that seems like if you don't value yourself. Like if I was looking at the question for myself, it'd be like, okay, if I don't have the right to take up space, then is it a question of, do I value myself enough to be able to take up this space? Or is it really more of, like what you said before, about your relationship with society or community versus your own values? Or valuing yourself? Like, do other people value me? Or is it like that question and stressor?
I think it may be all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a math equation I haven't looked at yet.
Mm-hmm. Someone said, I feel like I'm the most annoying person ever and everyone around me is too kind to tell me. I've definitely had that thought many, many times. I think that's like a lot, not that specific statement, but for me, a lot of my negative self-talk is like in terms like isolate yourself because you don't want to hurt other people. Or not to hurt, but to cause, to make a negative energy or turn the space into a negative energy, or to make other people's life complicated. Someone else said...
Those are book titles. And if you read, I've got 2 book suggestions. Your Brain's Not Broken by Tamara Rozier, and The Power is Within You by Louise Hay. Awesome, Hurricane. Thank you so much for that. All right, jumping back on my paragraphs. Do your best. When you do your very best, it's not hard to feel proud of yourself, even if things don't turn out the way you want them to. So trying your absolute hardest at something you love and then doing your best to detach from the outcome, although we're the first to admit that it isn't easy, is an excellent starting point of when you're working to feel proud of yourself. And if your hard work leads to something great, that's even better, and will hopefully lead you to feeling even more proud of yourself. After we did the covering ceremony, we were sitting here and the lady asked me, she goes, she asked me how I was feeling, something along those lines, and I said, I never really process these things. I just keep going. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly this here, where it says, so trying your absolute hardest at something you love and then doing your best to detach from the outcome, although we're the first to admit that it isn't easy, isn't it? So reading that, what that made me think of is detaching from recognizing what I accomplished. Mm-hmm. Because it isn't important. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? So, for example, what we did with the covering ceremony, there was a lot of appreciation to it, for it. And a lot of people said they really enjoyed it. And for me, it was just what had to be done. So I don't put a value on it as it was something that was necessary. And this comes back to how I was raised, where if you're doing what you're supposed to, that's your responsibility. So you don't need a pat on the back.
You've said this before about words of affirmation as well.
Yeah.
Do you have examples of other scenarios or experiences in which, like, they, how do I say, like, you didn't, it wasn't, like, the outcome wasn't a responsibility, or, like, you know what I'm trying to say?
The times I appreciate it is when I do something that's not planned. Meaning helping a lady cross the road. Mm. And when someone says, wow, that was really nice, that I feel. That I can take in. Even if it's just from the person I was helping, right? The gratitude, that I can process.
That makes sense. That's like ingrained. Like the choice for you to help somebody, it was just, it's like nature.
Yeah.
And you were being, not rewarded, what's the right word? Affirmed, validated for just doing what is your own nature, rather than, I sorry if it's not making sense.
No, that's cool.
But I have to think about it a little more too.
But that's like the difference in being able to take something and receive it versus you're supposed to tell me that. Mm-hmm. Right? This is the product, the covering ceremony completed. You're supposed to tell me good job. Mm-hmm. So it's like it falls on deaf ears. Mm-hmm. Because that's my responsibility.
That makes sense. Rewards, ceremonies.
Right?
Certificate of achievements. You graduated. Good job.
Yeah, good job. I hate fucking graduations. Nope.
Well, because then that also goes into the like professional resume versus like the life resume.
Maybe that's why I don't like graduations. One, because they're long and fucking boring as shit. But, the one time that I received acknowledgement and I felt proud and pride of it was in the military. I was in the Marines and I went through some course and I got this CERCOM from it. But I was voted to get that by my peers. Hmm. And who I was versus who they were, that was some time where I sat there and I felt that and I internalized that recognition. And it felt really, really, really fucking good. That was one of the highlights of my fucking life. Like, definitely of my time in the military, was that acknowledgement from my peers.
Acceptance.
Yeah.
Like ultimate acceptance.
It was
versus achievement.
Yeah. It was for what was before it was McMap, and after it was Line, there was God damn it, what was it called? We did Line, and then McMap. Anyway, so it was defensive tactics shit that I was going through to become an instructor for defensive tactics. When I was going through it, I was the only person who wasn't infantry in that school. And they were all recon guys. These were all big fucking recon guys. I was also junior in rank, but I was the team leader. I was the class commander. And I was in charge of all of these recon Marines who were higher ranked than me, because none of them wanted to step up to the plate and be the class leader. So I was like, I'll fucking do it. And they, at the end of it, It's the hardest fucking thing. One of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. You get beat up 5 days a week, like, for like 3 weeks. It was really fucking intense. But at the end, they vote for who would you want to be in the fighting hole with. If this was it, it was like, they're fucking coming. Who do you want in there with you? And I got selected. I got voted. And it was like that acknowledgement from my peers was a big fucking deal. So how do I take that and how do I bring that into everyday practice?
I'm not sure, but for me, that just gives, from what I'm hearing, gives you a little bit more information on what you put value in. Like for me, it's like
that's a good point. Yeah.
Like you put value in your interpersonal relationships and the people who you care about. So, from what I'm hearing is that acknowledgement and acceptance from those people is much more rewarding than from a duty.
Yeah.
Which you already said. I'm trying to connect the dots. My brain is...
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. Let me keep reading. But this is something Kat and I have been spoken about over the last week or two as we did our 30 days is just acknowledging the stuff that you've done, you've accomplished. Sorry. So let's jump on to celebrate the small wins. If you've ever said to yourself, this isn't a big deal about a smaller accomplishment, we'll stop you right there. A lot of feeling proud of yourself has to do with practice, and celebrating and patting yourself on the back for every win is a great starting point. Examples of small wins might include waking up in the morning, getting a full 8 hours of sleep, writing the first page of the novel you've been saying you'll write for years, potty training your child. Every parent knows this is more than a small win. Yeah. Getting a raise at work no matter how small. Spending less time on social media. Decluttering a room in your home. Decluttering a room in your home. Don't compare yourself to... This peanut... Why is there peanut butter on the paper?
I don't know.
Is that almond butter?
It's peanut butter. Are you allergic?
No. All right. Don't compare yourself to others. As the saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And this is specifically true when you're working hard to feel proud of yourself. It's easy to compare your accomplishments to someone else's and decide that yours isn't important or worthy of pride. But don't let yourself go down that rabbit hole. There will always be someone doing something bigger or more important than you. So comparing yourself to them just isn't worth it. The only person you should ever compare yourself to is you. And you.
That also goes for not even comparing your achievements, but comparing like tragedies and traumas. Like where you're at is fine. Like when you're feeling something. Like I've heard someone say, don't compare your traumas to someone else in terms of like, oh, but they have it worse than me. Maybe that's true, but that doesn't mean that you can't care for yourself and give yourself validation that what happened to you was upsetting. Not saying that you should sink into it and use it as an excuse for not doing other things to move you forward, but I think it goes both ways.
Yes. What she said. No, you're right. Because ultimately the scale of joy is joy, right? When a person's feeling joyous, they're feeling joyous. If a person's feeling fear, they're feeling fear. And it isn't, is it a spectrum? Yes, but it's also not a comparable spectrum, right? Someone's fear is someone's fear and some, blah, blah, blah. But yes, thank you for enlightening me, gracing me with your...
I was craving peanut butters and apples in 4 years. I don't know. Anyway.
4 years?
No, maybe that's not all.
Celebrate and be proud of other people too. This step also falls into the practice category. When we get really good at celebrating other people and consistently use phrases like, I'm so proud of you, it's a good reminder to celebrate ourselves too. And if it's so easy to feel proud of others, why should it be easy for you to feel proud about yourself? Why shouldn't it be easy to feel proud about it yourself? Yeah, better and worse is subjective. You might see they have it better. They might think you have it better, 100%. So this was the write-up the stuff that Kat left for us to review on taking pride in your journey. So let's come back to the pride in the journey. Why do you take pride in your journey?
In my which journey?
BDSM. Let's start there.
My BDSM journey. Why do I take pride in it? I take pride in my BDSM journey because I'm able to realize, or specifics, I guess. I take pride in it because I'm able to see the path. Again, I guess the same place that I started this conversation with. I'm able to see where I was and where I am, with a couple of different aspects of the journey, with polyamory, with what pain looks like to me and is to me, and what it gives me and what it doesn't give me, what my relationship with submission and slavery is like, what it defines my slavery and my submission, what defines I'm able to see where I started with my understanding of what a partnership looks like and where I am with that now. I'm able to see a journey and a pathway from where I was when I first noticed my perversions when I was a kid and where I am now, and what the journey from then to now was with shame and guilt and owning up to people pleasing and what that looks like and looked like. For some.
That's a good starter. That I'm not ashamed of what I like, who I love, and love who I am. Awesome, Kushla. Thank you for sharing that. For me, it's all the shit I've learned. It's all the stuff, the tools that I've gained, the mistakes that I've learned from, the patterns that I've broken, the acknowledgement of my faults. I've learned a lot about what I don't want, and I've starting to learn about what I do. I spent a lot of time moving away from things versus moving towards things, and I want to change that actively. And I think sitting with the things we've accomplished and I've accomplished is a good start to that.
Lots of action.
Everything has to be actionable. The good Bashar says, no, but
even more so, it seems.
Yeah. I think I want to sit and just talk about the things I've done. And maybe I'll do it. We'll sit and we'll do it.
I think we should.
Fucking mosquito bit my foot, or it just itches. My S-type has helped me not feel shame for my interests and perversions, and I'm so grateful for him. Awesome, Vox. Thank you. So, pride in my BDSM journey, the things I've learned, the skills I've developed, the ability to teach it forward is, I take a lot of pride in that, in helping people discover what it means for them, and moving away from the monolith approach of BDSM, leather, and kink is also something I take a lot of pride in. That it's not traditional.
Old guard.
It's not old guard. It's not newest vanguard. It's what is it to you? Take what works, leave what doesn't. Don't be a dick. Right? And
No protocol forcing here.
No, but it's like, but we take in the rituals and things that work for us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we'll learn as, good day, brother. Good. So thank you so much for jumping on. I would still love to jump and have a conversation with you, Joshua. Great chatting with you. Let's connect soon, please. Yeah, there's just I have a lot of stuff I have to tell myself. Good job for, because I take it as a responsibility, which it is. It is a responsibility, but maybe it's the actions of executing, doing them, and not just talking about doing them.
Some more to ponder.
Yeah, and then it's like, because one of the questions that we're going to put into the programs is, how do you build self-esteem? Right, for a person to acknowledge, how do you build it? What actions do you take to build, to recognize your achievements? Right, because some people have their oorah wall. That's like the motivational wall where they put all their certificates in their wall of accomplishments. I have the gift. No, but actually it's quite funny. I have a lot of gifts. Everything's being fucking gifted to me. Anyway, sorry. I'm just looking at the other picture and this. Like, maybe we should do a tour of pictures. No, not today. All right. Sorry for going on my rant.
No, it's okay. It gave me time to consider how I build my own self-esteem, and the question, yes.
So how do you build it?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm trying to consider that, because you said accomplishments, and I'm like, oh, so accomplishments and must equate to self-esteem, or like how I look at my accomplishments is supposed to give me, is supposed to feed my self-esteem.
It's supposed to affirm your abilities.
Affirm my abilities.
Look what you did. You did it. And you did it over and over and over. And look at us what you did. And look at what you did, and you did it great. And you didn't fail. And you succeeded.
Yeah, I don't necessarily, I mean,
like you're forced to look at that shit when you put it that way.
I don't do it very, like, directly like that.
But when you say it, it's like, well, fuck. And that's the thing about the question is, you have to do that. You have to say, this is what you fucking did. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm going to try after this call. Nice. Maybe have to see what the fuck downstairs is like.
We have to clean downstairs a bit.
But anyway, this was a very productive call.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for sitting with me. What we